YouTube, I'm Taylor. Welcome to Ginger Next Door. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, but it's something that I have been thinking about doing for a little while now. Stay with me here. When I lay in bed at night and can't fall asleep, I just think about the weirdest stuff. And I thought, if I ever had a talk show, I don't know how I got to this point. If I ever had a talk show, I would love for it to just be like, come hang out with me and we wear comfy clothes and we drink coffee and we just talk about nothing and everything. I love chit-chatty videos and like storytime videos and things like that. So hopefully you do too, because that's what this is basically going to be. So welcome to my pretend talk show. So I've decided to call this little series on my channel Coffee Conversations. So as we've got our coffee and we're gonna just, I keep saying we. I'm going to talk at you and you're going to listen. I wish I had a theme song. Today's coffee conversation is going to be fueled by this pumpkin spice chai because we're almost done with pumpkin season. Next week is, well no, when I post this, it'll be this week. This will be Thanksgiving week, you guys. Crazy. I always just try to get as much pumpkin spice stuff in as I can so that I'm so sick of it by the time it goes away, I don't miss it and I don't want it for another year. I think it's brilliant. So basically, the way this video is going to go, I've just been writing down in my phone like the random things that I think of. These are literally just like those weird thoughts, and I know that we all do it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get started, and we're just gonna talk and talk. Okay, the first thing that I had written down. There's this documentary on Netflix. It's like a documentary series that's called The Toys That Made Us. It's really great. If you like how things are made, if you like vintage toys, if you like vintage things, it's a really fun series, and basically they just each episode take one specific genre of a toy and like tell you how it was made and like how it became a thing and blah blah blah. So a lot of them are from like 70s, 80s, and some of them are older than that. There's one that's about Legos, there's one that's about Barbie. It's a really fun show. And the one that actually made me think of the thing I'm going to talk about is there was an episode about Star Wars. And basically they just are talking all about the Star Wars toys and how it became such a huge franchise, and I was thinking how fun it is that we have this thing, and like I like Star Wars as much as the next person and we have new Star Wars coming out. Like, I love that it's something that has reached across generations. Like, our parents loved it, now we love it, and our kids are going to love it because we're going to force them to. So in thinking about Star Wars and how it's kind of such a big thing that has been a thing for generations, I was thinking, what's a thing that the millennials have that will stretch on forever? And then I, of course, thought of Harry Potter. I loved Harry Potter when I was a tiny child and I read it all the way until I grew up. I read the books as they came out because luckily for me, I was kind of that age. I grew up with them, which was very fun. And now people who are my age have kids and are making them watch it. It's just the funnest thing in the entire world. We have a freaking theme park, people. It's the best. And there's still like movies coming out that are about Harry Potter that aren't Harry Potter but about that whole universe because we're all obsessed with it. It's my favorite thing. Anyways, this is not a video about how much I love Harry Potter, although I could do that. In thinking about Harry Potter, I was like, what a great time to be alive, and then I remembered there was another thing that was very popular while I was growing up and while I was in high school that we were also all obsessed with. Twilight, you guys. What in the world were we thinking? Twilight is so problematic, it makes my brain hurt because I loved it. Oh, I loved it. And that's why I'm going to talk crap about it, and no one can get mad at me because I loved it just as much, if not more, than anybody else. I was once a young, dumb, impressionable teenager. I can't help what my hormones make me think is a good idea when Stephenie Meyer spoon feeds me a beautiful tale of all the dramatics, and it makes you have this thing in your brain where you're like, relationships are supposed to be dramatic, and if you're not dramatic about me, how do I know you love me? Sickening. Stop it. Here's the thing though. I was a young, dumb teenager that had a brain that was so impressionable. We would go to all of the midnight showings of the movies, and we would go see them in the theater multiple times. Here's the thing though. I'm a dumb teenager. There were women there, like, in their 40s. I remember one time we went and there was a group of women that were in, like, fluffy tutus with, like, Team Edward or Team Jacob shirts. And they were, like, our mom's ages. And we were like, that's weird. And now that I'm older, I'm so even more weirded out by that. You're telling me that you, as a 40-year-old woman, was like, yeah, that teenager, though. Stop it! We were all dumb. You knew better, okay? Grown-ups. Besides the fact that people were way too obsessed with that book, it's not even a great storyline. On top of that, Bella, dudes. Bella is the worst. Like, yeah, what a good example. If your boyfriend breaks up with you, definitely wallow about it. Definitely be super dramatic and don't leave your house or move or breathe or think for months. And just be sad until he comes back to you. That seems like such a good idea, and I can make fun of it, and I can say that because my first breakup destroyed me. I was the worst, okay? And I can say with 100% without a doubt, I was the worst. I was the most dramatic baby about that whole thing. But again, teenager at the time. This was a million years ago, so now I'm so much smarter and wiser. Listen, if a boy breaks up with you, 9 out of 10 times, you're better off, okay? Speaking of people breaking up with people, Jacob, no, get out of here. Listen, I could go on and on about that stupid series. My biggest issue, I think the most unrealistic part about this is the whole idea that, like, love triangles actually happen. Never once in my life have I been like, man, what a difficult decision. So many boys are chasing after me. How will I ever choose? Especially a goob like Bella, okay? Also, Jacob, no! If somebody can't decide if they want to be with you, you run away. If someone has to think about it or decide if they want to be with you or whatever before they can choose you, you're not a Pokemon, okay? Run away. Don't let people treat you like that. Moving on, I need to calm down. Speaking of calm, we've been watching the Great British Baking Show. That's a mouthful. If you don't know what the Great British Baking Show is, it's a show on Netflix that's about British bakers, and it's a competition, and each week they, like, eliminate people. It's lovely. But they film it at in this like giant field in this tent, and every once in a while they clip to like little scenes of like baby animals, like little bunnies hopping around, and like a deer will pass through the background, and the accents are so soothing. It's a very lovely show. And those British people, man, they're so nice to each other. And they're all so calm. Like, someone's cake is like on fire and they're like, oh, pip pip, what a bother. And then they always help each other. Someone's over there panicking and can't get their stuff figured out. Someone else is like, oh, I have extra time, let me help you. And then it just like cuts to them in the background of everybody's interviews. There's always someone like sipping a cup of tea. It's so calm and so soothing if you like need a calm down show because you've watched too much true crime and you can't sleep at night because your brain is filled with images of John Wayne Gacy. Great British Baking Show. Turn it on, you'll be out like a light. It's really lovely. American cooking shows are not like that. You know, Cute Buddy Valastro. Is that their last name? Whatever. Cute Buddy, Cake Boss, and they did like the Cake Boss like Next Great Baker thing. That competition was terrifying. Everyone's like dropping F-bombs and like screaming at each other and like throwing chairs and turning up heat on people's ovens so that their stuff gets ruined. Americans, we're really intense and we have to be the best and there's no questions. Watching cooking shows always makes me want a cooking show, except for that I cannot cook. The other day, in fact, I thought I was going to, don't tell my roommates, I thought I was going to burn the house down because I'm a moron, and I poured a little bit of olive oil into my HelloFresh cooking pan that they told me to pour in there, pour a little olive oil in there, then it's sizzling, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like very much moisture. So I decide, you know, I'm going to add a little bit of extra because I'm trying to steam this cauliflower. So do you know what I did? Took a thing of water, dumped it right in there. Guess what happened? It exploded, crackled all over my brand new shirt that I was wearing. Don't put water into hot oil. That's the lesson. Although when I was a little kid, and I would be home a lot by myself during the summer, only child, whoop whoop, I would be home a lot by myself during the summer, and I would just kind of talk out loud just so that there would be some noise and I liked the sound of my own voice. Kind of like the thing I'm doing right now. Anyway, I would pretend to have a cooking show because I would watch a lot of the Food Network during the summers. When you'd like run out of things to watch, you'd be like, I guess just turn that on. And so I'd be like, first I'm going to take this box of mac and cheese and pour it into this boiling water. And now I make videos where I sit in a room alone and pretend that there's an audience watching me. Full circle. Hey, speaking of toxic relationships and game shows, let's talk about how much I hate The Bachelor. Yeah, let's put yourself in the middle of a triangle involving 20 people. Listen, if someone wants you to go into a relationship where you can roll one of those Dungeons and Dragons dice and it can have a name on each side, don't do it. What a healthy idea. No, it's stupid and awful, and the worst, okay? I genuinely believe that almost anyone could fall in love with almost anyone if you were to go on a 3-month vacation with them where you have no social media, no jobs, no work drama, no family drama. That's not real life. It's not a real relationship. Imagine if you were genuinely in love with that person. Like, you meet this amazing guy and he checks all your boxes and it's just the best and he's so in love with you. I know he's making out with 19 other people, but that doesn't matter. What we have is real, and he's going to give me that ring. And then it comes to the last episode, and then you're bawling in the back of a limo while he's down on his knee proposing to another person. What a freaking nightmare. Imagine that that was a true thing, a true feeling for you, and then you had to watch the love of your life propose to another person. Imagine the therapy one would need. Or, if that happens to you, and everyone feels bad for you, then you can just have your own season where you're the puppet master and you have 19 people who like you. I'm the ruler of the roses now. Why? Why would you do that to yourself and then put other people through it? Speaking of therapy, we're gonna wrap this up with a really great book recommendation. If you follow me on social media, you know that I've already talked about this book like 900 times, but it's literally life-changing. The full title, You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. This book will literally teach you how to do that. So if you're a human who has all of these big dreams and goals and you're sick of kind of going with the flow and you don't know where to begin, I'm serious, this book is amazing. The thing that I like so much about this is the way that the author writes it is like you're talking to a friend. And she's very real about her struggles and her journey, and she puts you into real life situations where you can actually apply the things that are in the book. Sometimes it can be so discouraging because it's like we follow people on social media or we have these people in our lives that we look up to that are already so far ahead of you, and you're like, man, I wish I had that thing or wish I could do that thing, but you feel like it's unachievable, but you don't see the journey that that person went through to get to that point. So this book basically teaches you about where to begin and how to change your mindset so that you can believe in yourself enough to go after the things that you want. The part that talks about, like, if there are people in your life who you really look up to and admire, or let's be honest, that we're envious of, and they're living a life that you wish that you could be living, she basically says to you, if someone else is doing it, why can't you? And all of a sudden all of your excuses are invalid because why can't you? So I really like this book. I'm going to share one little quote from it really quick. I'm suddenly so nervous. I feel like I just got called on to read in front of class. When you make a no-nonsense decision, you sign up fully and keep moving toward your goal regardless of what's flung in your path, and stuff will most definitely get flung, which is why making the decision is so crucial. This shit is not for sissies. The moment that it gets hard or gets expensive or puts you at risk of looking like a moron, you haven't made the decision, you'll quit. If it wasn't uncomfortable, everyone would be out there all in love with their fabulous lives. And then she goes on to say, so often we pretend we've made a decision when what we've really done is signed up to try until it gets too uncomfortable. I think there are definitely times that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go do this thing, I'm working on this goal and I'm going to be amazing at it. And then one little thing stands in your way and you just throw everything away and like move on and act like it didn't matter. And then years later, you regret it and you wish that you would have started sooner, and we just continue that cycle. So that's the thing in my life that I'm working on right now, is setting goals and actually going after them. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 overnight, and most people don't, and that's okay. Basically, I just keep telling myself, you just have to take one step, like make one move in the right direction, and then, you know, it's a step farther than you were yesterday. I can sit here and talk about this all right now because I'm in a good place and I'm like, no, it's great. Tomorrow I'll probably be crying about it because that's just what I do. So let's just all try a little harder this week and like do a sit-up or two and eat a vegetable and drink some water, okay? I hope that you liked this video. It was kind of weird and random, but that's who I am as a human being. I hope that you liked this video and found it somewhat funny or entertaining. I hope to do more of these videos because I had a good time filming it. I hope that you have an amazing week and make some positive changes and steps in the direction to your dreams. You know, my dream is to eat pizza for breakfast, so that's what I'm gonna go do. Goodbye! Coffee Conversations! That's the theme.